There we go.
Very cool.
All right. Well, we're here day 2, PCA 2025. We're in a very special booth to me, as this is one of my favorite brands, and I get to meet the owner, founder of it. So
Yeah.
this is Nick Melillo from Foundation Cigars.
Yes,
welcome,
sir.
welcome.
Thanks
nice
for
to meet
having
you.
me. It's
Yeah,
great.
thanks
Great
for
to
having
see
us.
you. We never met before, though.
No, sir. First
Great
time.
to meet you.
Well, we met here,
Okay.
but this is our first one.
You don't go to Rocky Mountain ever?
No,
You should go.
I should go. I
Yeah.
know. I need to.
You enjoy
I've,
it.
I've been trying to hook up with those guys and
Yeah.
talk about their what they do on our podcast. 'Cause I
Yeah.
have a huge base, and
Awesome.
it's I know they're very popular.
You talked to
but
Tom Bliss?
I've called the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival,
Yeah.
the phone number, and
Yeah.
emailed them, and I never.
If I see him, I'll mention you.
Yeah, I
All
would
right.
love to. But yeah, are you going this year?
I should be there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might try and go. I know I missed the ticket sales. We were in Ouray,
And it
Colorado.
already sold out?
Probably. They sell out within like a half hour.
That's
or an
great,
hour.
yeah.
That's good. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
And I don't see Colorado is hard because it's 50, soon to be 60% tax. It's bullshit. I don't know. I know how I feel about it. I can't imagine how people that make a living.
They had to move a lot of their warehousing out of Colorado.
That's wild.
Yeah, smoker friendly, all those guys.
Yeah, they still have a store there, but
Yeah.
few and far between. So,
Yeah.
well, why don't you kind of take us through some of your new unveilings
So this
here?
is a big year for us. It's our 10-year anniversary. So I launched a new 10-year anniversary special Salomon 7x58 special hybrid wrapper of Connecticut broadleaf and Connecticut Cuban seed. So that's the wrapper leaf. It's offered in this beautiful 20-count collector's box. And then I also have an amazing 10-count box also. So this is the 20-count. So hybrid wrapper, grown in the Connecticut River Valley, where our office is in the Connecticut River Valley. We're on a 300-acre farm in the heart of the valley. We've been working on this wrapper for a long time. So Connecticut broadleaf, you get the sweetness, the earthiness, and then the Cuban seed Connecticut, you get the spicy, and a little bit more of a kick. So it's.
How did you come up with that shape for this?
Salomon is an old, to my knowledge, Cuban size. It's 7x58, so it's rather large. So it's one of those specialty sizes. I'm not sure when it started or how it got the Salomon name, but it's almost like Churchill's or 7x48, 7x50. Right. So it's always been known this size as the Salomon, which is interesting. Which kind of plays into my whole branding because I do a lot on Solomon and the Ark of the Covenant.
The leaders and the
Yeah, so it kind of plays with all that. The imagery here is of St. George slaying the dragon, which I thought is very appropriate, just given the challenges of being a business owner, the challenges of the cigar industry, fighting the FDA, all
taxes,
these things.
Everything.
Kind of what we were just talking about. Also, we offer this in a 10-count box, which is more conducive for the shops. Nice tray,
Nice removable
pretty cool.
tray.
Yeah.
I think most of your stuff has removable, at least the Olmecs
I
that I
love
have.
the Olmec's got a nice tray.
Yeah.
I love the tray. So then we did a two line extensions to our Wise Man brand, to the Corojo, Wise Man Corojo, in the Lancero, 7x48.
Nice.
So we're hoping these come out before the end of the year. So we did a special blend, all Nicaraguan, for the Corojo, and then for the Wise Man Maduro, I switched it up. For the wrapper, I did Connecticut broadleaf. Traditionally, it's San Andreas, so these will be some nice 7x40. Yes.
Any challenges that come along with doing the Lancero format? I've heard people say the whole cigar is a wrapper, basically, and it's just like more of a challenge as a blender roller.
It's a challenge from rolling, from the blending perspective. All around, we only have a certain number of rollers that are allowed to roll these because of the difficulty level of these. I usually do a 40 instead of a 38 ring.
Okay.
Because the 38 is just too small for getting higher priming tobaccos in there. So because the higher priming tobaccos have more veins, thicker cellular structure. So trying to get them in a 38 ring can be really challenging unless you're using Seiko, like lower priming.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to use those higher priming tobaccos. So I usually do a 40 to kind of work those in there. So, but they're definitely a challenge on all levels.
And I believe it. How did you well, I know you're busy. I have a couple questions
no problem.
that I've been personally wanting to know. How did you get, like, I know everybody asks this, but I've never heard you explain it. So I'm being a little
no problem.
A little what's the word? What's the word when you want selfish?
No, it's all good.
How did you get your start in this industry and then get to where you're at today with your own brand? I mean,
man, it's been a journey since 1996, man. You know, I started in 96. I was 18, starting school in Connecticut, and used to go into a cigar shop called the Calabash Shop. That was my local shop. And this was at the height of the cigar boom in 96. It was wild. It sort of peaked in 96 of what we know as the cigar boom. And just before I started school, I was going in there. There was lines out the humidor. And I was just into everything I could learn about cigars by 18. Being from Connecticut, learning the history of, it was the coolest thing for me to, all my people smoked Connecticut cigars. There was a lot of brands. So my great-grandfathers, grandfathers, uncles, they all smoked Connecticut cigars. So I was into it.
Yeah, it was just surrounded you.
And I walked into this store. There was a line out the humidor. I got up to the cash register. Just got an email for the first time in 96. And my phone number, I said, ladies, 2 ladies own the shop. I said, I know every cigar in that humidor. I know all the blends. Here's my number. I would love to work here. And that was like my dream job for starting school. Didn't hear from them for like almost 2 months. A week before I started class, they called me up and they put me in charge of the humidor.
Wow.
And that was the beginning. And probably 2 years later, I met this crazy guy that was starting a company called Drew Estate. That was like 97, 98. I exchanged information with Jonathan. 5 years later, about that, I was traveling around the world.
Wow.
And Jonathan needed help in Nicaragua. In 2002, nobody wanted to really travel to Nicaragua. Yeah. And I was traveling through the jungles of Thailand and Southeast Asia. And we were emailing constantly. And I think the light went off and said, oh, he'll probably move to Nicaragua. And I moved down to Nicaragua at 24 in 03.
Wow.
And then I ran the Drew Estate factory for 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you split off and you started Foundation.
Yeah, it was really tough, man, because it was probably one of the hardest decisions of my life.
I bet.
I had an amazing team that became family in Nicaragua to me. And the driving force was the FDA. At that time in 2014, there was talk of the FDA saying, after a certain date, you can't introduce new brands to the market. So that was a potential reality at that time. So I said, I'm 36. If I don't do this now, I might not be able to. And the thought of that, not being able to potentially start my own brands one day, was daunting. So I struggled with that decision for a couple of years.
I bet.
And then I jumped off the cliff. And we launched here 10 years ago in New Orleans with one brand.
Wow.
And we've been growing ever since, man.
Yeah, you guys, I'm a big fan of the entire line, and I like what you do. So it's been a real honor to sit down and talk with you. I know you guys are busy.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we got the time, man. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's great that they have a media hour now.
I know.
Because 10 o'clock comes and
chaos.
It's chaos.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, we're going to sign off here. Day 2, PCA 2025.